most superb athlete. And here we go to the tail of the tape. Just 25 to 26 years. Tony's a year older. They're about the same in height. Jones has got a little bit of an edge. The weight, of course, 68-pound limit. Surprisingly, Tony's got the longer reach to where he feels comfortable. When he walks around at it, it's got to help him. It probably feels a lot better than being 168 right now.
He's a starving man for victory, and there's the bell for round number 1. This one's scheduled for 12.
Tony looking trying to look real slick for Roy Jones.
A devastating body puncher. And we'll see when he starts his assault downstairs, as Roy Jones starting to pitch some shots here.
And Tony's just kind of enjoying himself, making all that miss. Here, Roy Jones just adjusted that left hook.
And you believe you can knock a guy out, and I think that's what Tony has in mind.
Yeah, real punches, but the round isn't over yet.
Good counter left hook there from Tony.
That even though he keeps his hands down, he somehow finds a way to get out of your way.
Leaving the scene of the crime. Jones the aggressor here in round 1. Had to really put that body attack together.
Jones just left with his right hand down and caught a little bit.
Richard's still confused about that 10-second
clap,
which was really just a 10-second warning for the fighters to let them know there's only 10 seconds left in the round.
Well, let me tell you something. Roy Jones Jr. got hit with a good little left hook by James Toney at the very end of that round, the last 5 or 8 seconds. He looks the more confident right now. Roy Jones was breathing a little heavily at the end of that round. I'm sure it's nerves.
But so is Tony.
Then Jones wised up and he threw a little left to the midsection, to the belly with that left hand. As not to look, and there's a beautiful combination all off the glove zone.
The best moment that we've seen from Tony had to be against McCallum, and also what he did against Iran Barkley.
Barkley's style was made to order for James Toney, since he's such a nice little counter left hook right up. The style of Barkley was made to order for James Toney.
With that hook from Tony, he's 8 rounds 3 times. Everything else has been that didn't quite make it past the midway point. And he'll perhaps get a test in that route tonight against Tony. Good lead, left hooks.
Beautiful, but Tony's biding his time right now. So he's got to look for something like that. It's awful dangerous to go to the body against a guy with such quick hands like Roy Jones.
So far, Jones has asserted himself pretty well. Good combination from Jones. Tony in some trouble. Jones now starting to come forward, landing some uppercuts inside, and Tony says, "Give me more. Is that all you got?" Jones says, "Yeah, I'll take the round with me."
Hole for himself.
Cut off that jab.
Initially, with the naked eye, it appeared as though when Tony jumped back that he was somewhat staggered, but he was actually just gaining his balance.
Exactly.
And now the body work from Tony. Some big headshots there from Jones to keep him out of the inside, though. Jones the quicker of the two. Would you agree, Joe?
Well, he is at this point. Right now, Tony seemingly thinks he knows what he has to do, and that's to put the pressure on. But Roy Jones came off the ropes when he got pinned there with some beautiful shots back at Tony.
Oh! Big left hook, and down goes Tony! He was caught showing off.
He did by that patented jump-in left hook.
He got suckered into it.
I don't know if he was off balance as much as hurt. I think a little of both, but I don't think he's as hurt as the people might think he is here, because he was fooling around.
You know, Jones...
I'm not surprised at the power of Jones at all, but I am surprised that James Toney has taken this long to really put some pressure on. This is what he's got to do, just like that, to make this fight happen and get his counters in.
He's really getting hit by some counter shots from Jones here. That could be dangerous, though, against Tony. Good counter by Tony. His best punch of the fight.
Tony. He looks around at the crowd. It's like he's just wrestling with his baby brother. No problem. He's got so much. Look at him. See? Looks around. No problem. I can deal with that. He's really an amazing guy, full of self-confidence.
And look how low his hands are. Tony nearly caught him that time with the left hook. And you look up under the right eye of Tony, who appears not to have his game plan working for him right now. And he seems a bit confused.
What's your game plan against Roy Jones? I mean, it's a hard game plan to have. The game plan is to put a lot of pressure on, but that's really never been James Toney's forte, which it was anyway.
He suckered him into that by doing it himself. And Tony fell prey for it.
But it was definitely a push. It was a punch, but then the ultimate result was a push.
Round 4, and like a cat in an alley, Tony comes out with some fury here.
Tony's got to work as when he finally does get close to Roy Jones and then separate and give more room. It wasn't a stabilizing.
Jones is working that left hand. Punch so far here through 3+.
Just when you think you should watch out for the hook.
3.5 years, Tony's been a champion. And they're talking to one another now. Good body.
Jones gets to Toney is when he's got to start punching.
Big shot from Toney, his best punch of the fight.
Really frustrating for James Toney right now.
2 minutes gone by here in the fourth. Toney starting to...
As Roy Jones has landed 4 wicked shots, 2 to the body and 2 to the head.
Both fighters showing us their stuff, and Jones so far the better. Using the jab and the hooks and the...
Touch Jones's body immediately, and not the weight.
Here's Jones. And closing moments here in round number 4. Jones rallying late here.
Punching it out, punching it out. Right, step back, step back, step back.
Jones landing 41% of his punches. He threw 153. He has thrown, rather. 85 for Toney for 31%. And, of course, a knockdown scored by Jones back in round number 3, a left hook. This is not what Jones wants to do in the center of the ring with James Toney. What I notice is Jones will use his left hand and almost like Larry Holmes used to wave it across himself, and then he'll throw a hook off of it.
A few seconds ago, threw a left hand to the body and then slid over completely around.
2 million plus to take some gate receipts, and there's Toney getting hit with some lefts and some rights. Playing a decoy game, but Jones landing the ball, and they trade inside, and the power of Toney being noticed there. Again, Toney landing. And Jones coming back with some offering. And they trade in the middle of the squares. A minute left here in the 5th. Toney coming up with some big shots here in this round.
Because right now, good left hook by Roy Jones Jr. He's just fresh as a daisy, and he's got all sorts of energy.
Very sneaky left hand for Jones. Tony has him right where he should do some work to him right here.
Tony can't always wait for that right hand.
Whistling turnaround left hook for Tony.
Cannot let him rest. You've got to tire out Roy Jones Jr. His occasional counter punches here, but I still like Jones for landing and ring generalship of the punches he's landed. Early on, he did more work, and I just think it's been pretty much a sweep for Roy Jones so far. But Tony is getting closer and doing better.
20 of its bouts, we're referring to the champion Toney, have gone past 6 rounds.
Roy Jones would use his superior athletic ability. Got to do something to turn the tide here. And do that. Get rough, go to the body, use your arms, your forearms. Do anything you can to slow down Roy Jones and expose something that he will be vulnerable to.
Toney looking to make some...
I think the general public, you're right, has not very much knowledge of Roy Jones. That's why everyone anticipated this fight so much with a beautiful...
Toney missing the overhand. As the prior 5 or so, but good left hand there from Roy Jones.
That's the amazing thing about Roy Jones. Look, threw a left hook, leaned back, behind him again.
Toney has to be frustrated.
Of course, that's what got Terry Norris DQ'd the other night in Mexico City.
What do you tell your guy, Joe, in this situation if you're in Toney's corner, where you seem to be getting beat to the punch almost every time, like right there?
You've got to really start taking chances at opening up and making the other guy open up, because obviously the superior talent is Jones. You're not going to beat him in a tactical game.
Perhaps every other round has been Jones's round. And here, it goes right back to work with the lefts and rights. Toney getting hit by some big shots from Jones in the center of the ring.
Well, James Toney right now has been in a lot of fights. Got clipped with a beautiful right hand. I'd make sure in between rounds, I'd tell Richard Steele, hey, leave my man alone in the corner. He's trying to work just because the other guy's holding on. Give him a chance to work out of it, just like that.
Time ticking away here for the champion as we go into the final 45 seconds of round 7. And Jones still connecting on combinations with the quicker hands and the more accuracy. Toney just pounding Jones, or Jones rather pounding Toney. Combination punches. Champion on the ropes now.
And listen, those punches are taking their toll on James Toney because he just got caught with another good left hook. Even though he's sliding and rolling with a lot of them.
Good left hand from Toney, and a right at the bell. Toney's best moment, but after he had been mauled for the majority of round number 7.
It wasn't that big of a punch. I think Richard Steele got hit a little bit harder at the end there. But it's an accomplishment to even hit Roy Jones on top of the head.
So far, Roy Jones Jr., good left hook, and Toney had to grab on there. He lost his balance for a moment. Or so it appeared. The left hook has been the best shot there, and Toney hurt by that shot, winging wildly. Some headshots, and they're piling up for Jones, the challenger. He backs Toney up, and this is not a scene that you'll see very often. Here comes Jones. Has Toney in his corner. Pounding him to the head with lefts and rights. Toney fires back a right hand.
Stop behind the head from Roy Jones, which doesn't do anybody any good. But right now, Toney isn't doing the smart thing, but he's doing what he thinks might work for him to get Jones to open up right in front of him instead of dancing around him.
Beating in the process.
Well,
good work from Jones.
You can see 2 months for this fight. He's not going to get tired. He's done everything right.
As he opens his mouth to breathe a bit harder and gets caught with a left hook right in the mouth.
But he can't break up James Toney on the inside when he finally gets to do it. Right now, I would say that whatever it was or should have been covered earlier wasn't. And the fact of the matter is it should be the corner's job right now to try to help out his fighter and get any edge he can by talking to the referee.
Right hand and more blood in the mouth of Toney.
When he finally gets in there.
Ooh! Oh, big left hand from Toney, but not as big as it appeared.
Look at Steele, though. He's getting in the way too much here. He's got to let these guys fight a little bit more.
And that just fired up Roy Jones in the final 10 seconds. A street fight now in the middle of the ring. What is Richard Steele doing there?
He heard the...
It's a 10-second warning. What a bad move by Richard Steele. I hate to say it because I know Richard personally. And right when the fight was beginning to turn into an alley fight,
he landed quite a few punches in that last round. That was one of the few he didn't land.
It's getting pretty late for the champion now. Hands to move in because there's no punches coming at him. Things could change not only in the judge's mind, but in the ring itself.
Tell you what, the judge on my side, I would be. These judges didn't have a big lead for James Toney right now.
You mean for Jones?
Or for Roy Jones Jr., I'm sorry. And I'm looking at it from a corner man standpoint. I'm saying you need
to here of round 9. Oh, good right hand coming out of the clinch, Joe. 10-second count as lunging in the champion. He gets caught with the left and knocked into the neutral turnbuckle.
Well, Jones landed 2 rights and then slipped over to the left side and landed the left hook to the body. He's just outboxing James Toney. And his corner is reflecting that in their actions.
Here's the bell for round number 10, and the hourglass dripping away the sand for the champion, James Lights Out Toney. A bit of deja vu in this one. Jones quickly using that counter.
Dismembered by 3 things. 1, James Toney hasn't really taken it. It's just so adept at turning and twisting. And look going.
Mentioned he may have had 6 meals, Toney, the champion, since the weigh-in.
I think it's the weight so much as this style is just killing us.
You have to love the way that Toney is, or rather Jones is negotiating the clock here. Lands a couple, leaves the scene of the crime, then back inside.
The audience, he jumps in with sneaky punches. Not many of them out there. Maybe Pernell Whitaker is as tricky as this kid.
Closing seconds here of the 10th round. Whistling right hand, a portion of it landing on the nose of Toney. 6 minutes left for the champion to come up with a dramatic KO.
Probably a lot better than James Toney thought he was going to be.
6 minutes left here as we go to round 11, and Toney, as he has done initially in every round to start it, comes out with a left hook. Toney being encouraged to go after his man. He's really tried. They're a pretty good left hook from Toney.
You see how Roy Jones stuck out his hand straight and put his head back, like trying to beautiful left hook by Roy Jones.
Right hand. Ooh, good smash to the face.
He's hard to, once they do stop, he'll tie you up and then hit you. Look, beautiful left hook. He gets on both sides here.
This is incredible to see Toney get waxed like this on the rope. Jones trading and silvering here.
Jumped in with that left hook. Toney's got nothing on his punches at this point either.
I think he's hurt now too, Joe. To the body and upstairs. And of course, everyone's curious about what Toney will do in the final 3 minutes of work. We know he has his work cut out for him.
Well, Merkinson is Jones' trainer. He says, I don't want you to get in there and slug with him, but I want you to keep beating on him.
But he really didn't want to say it, huh?
No, he didn't.
Jones won if he can stay on his feet. All it takes is one moment of glory late in the fight when he seemed to be all but beaten.
Roy Jones to break him down, and that's been the difference here.
Grand fashion, instead of moving, you see him throwing rights like that and landing.
Tony came back with a counter.
Oh, a smash! Left hook to the face from Jones.
A winner like James Toney, especially with some of the brilliant things we've seen him do. But here we just saw the emergence of a true superstar in this game. It's Roy Jones Jr.
Jones wants to finish in grand fashion here as he's starting to get more aggressive in the final 10 seconds. It's over, and I think it's over for the champion, at least as the super middleweight champion.
We go to the scorecards. John Stewart scores the bout, 119 to 108. Glenn Hamada scores it, 117 to 110. And Jerry Roth has it, 118 to 109 for the winner by unanimous decision. And new super middleweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.